India has an ambitious target of achieving about 500 gigawatts capacity of energy generation from renewable energy sources by 2030. This is the world's largest expansion plan for renewable energy. And the man who's leading the government's charge in this pivot towards green and clean energy is the Union Prime Minister K Singh, our special guest at this Renewable Energy Summit. Can we have a warm round of applause as we welcome the Minister to this program? Thank you very much, sir, for coming here. What we know so far is that this is one of the key thrust areas of the government, and that the targets that you'd set for 2030, some of those targets have already been met. Can you begin by giving us a sense of your broad vision for achievement of this plan, which is being called the world's largest expansion plan towards green energy? How much progress have we made? How satisfied are you with the progress? What are the key roadblocks that you're encountering? Your plan to overcome those roadblocks, and what happens from here? So let's start from there, Minister.
What Rahul wants is actually the whole story. So I'll try to give you the whole story in as succinct a manner as possible. Now, I think there's some facts which you need to know, which we all need to know. One is that climate change is an issue. It's a real issue. It's not a chimera. It's happening. So therefore, this is important. The whole world now is clear in its mind. There's a consensus that we need to do something about it. I'm not talking about the relative responsibilities or who's been responsible for what has happened. But just as a matter of interest, almost 85% of the legacy carbon dioxide load is because of the developed nations. They've added it. There's no dispute about that. Nobody disputes that. Our contribution to the legacy carbon dioxide load is just 3.4%, even though our population is about 17.5%. That is one fact. On a per capita basis, our emissions are 1/3 of the global average. I'm not talking about 1/3 of a developed country, no. It's 1/3 of the global average, which includes all countries, developing and, countries in Africa with very limited access to energy. There are about 800 million people without access to energy today. So we emit, on a per capita basis, one of the least in the world. We are the least one of the lowest emitters in the world. Our responsibility for the legacy CO2 emissions is very, very small, very limited. It's it has no proportion, no relation whatsoever it has no proportion whatsoever to our population. So that's something which is a necessary background. But we believe in the importance of leaving behind a healthier planet for our coming generations. So in COP21 in Paris, in 2015, we pledged that by 2030, we'll have 40% of our power generation capacity coming from non-fossil sources. Now this pledge was a substantial pledge, both in absolute terms as well as compared to the pledges made by other countries, including developed countries. But we made it, and we've achieved it. We've achieved it 9 years in advance. We achieved it in November 21. In November 21, 40% of our capacity was from non-fossils already. Today, it's 42%. So whatever target we had set to be achieved in 2030, we achieved in November 21. Today, we are already at 42%. That is one fact. Today, my non-fossil capacity is 177 gigawatts. Out of that means 177,000 megawatts. Out of that, 6,800 megawatts comes from nuclear. The remaining is from solar, wind, and hydro, and biomass, little bit, biomass, pure renewable. Nuclear is also clean, but it's not renewable. It's not categorized as renewable. But the targets are set not in terms of renewable energy, they are set in terms of fossil and non-fossil. So the target for us is non-fossil, that is one. Now, because we've achieved this so far in advance, I mean, so much in advance, therefore we upped our ambition in Glasgow. And we said that now by 2030, 50% of our capacity will come from non-fossils. And then the Prime Minister, this was the NDCs, nationally determined contributions given officially under the UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. You give your NDCs, nationally determined contributions. So that is 50% of our capacity by 2030 will be non-fossil. By 2030, I expect our capacity. In fact, I'll need our capacity to be 820 gigawatts, 820,000 megawatts. Today, my capacity, power generation capacity is 410,000 megawatts. So my capacity has to double between now and 2030. Now that's the pledge which we made. That 50% of that will come from non-fossil. So 50% of 820 is 410. But the Prime Minister said that renewable energy, as far as renewable energy capacity is concerned, it will be 500 gigawatts. Now, so that actually makes it more than 50%. It makes it almost 64%.